Good morning, students. In the previous lecture, we studied chapter 2, that is the King's Magic Drum. Now, today we will continue the chapter. Now, see, when the pupil received their invitations, they laughed as they knew the tortoise was very poor, so very few attended the feast. So when the tortoise sent invitations to the pupil, the pupil received his invitations, but they laughed on this. Why? Because they knew that the tortoise is not very rich. Okay, the tortoise was very poor. So only few of them attended the feast. But the king, knowing about the drum, came, and when the tortoise beat the drum, the food was brought as usual in great profusion, and all the pupils sat down and enjoyed their meal very much. But the king, who know everything about the drum, or who know about the drum, and so he came, and when the tortoise started beating the drum, the food appeared or brought in front of them, and as in usual in great profusion. Profusion means in a large quantity. So when the tortoise started beating the drum, the food brought in a large quantity, and all of them sat together, means all the pupil and the wild animals and the king also, they sat together and they enjoyed their meal very much. They were much astonished that the poor tortoise should be able to entertain so many people, and told all their friends what fine dishes had been placed before them, and they had and that they had never had a better dinner. Now all the people were much astonished. Astonished means all of them were surprised that how the poor tortoise should be able to entertain so many people, means they were surprised that the poor tortoise should able to entertain many people, and they also told their friends that what fine dishes they had in front of them, that they never had a better dinner in their life before, or the pupil never had a better dinner like that in their life before. The people who had not gone to the dinner were very sorry when they heard this, as a good feast at somebody else's expense is not provided every day. So the people who were not present in this feast, or who had not gone to the dinner, they felt very sorry for that, or they feel very bad. Why? They uh, because they thought that as how somebody spent their expenses for feast, and it would not be possible for every day in their life. After the feast, all the people looked upon the tortoise as one of the richest men in the kingdom, and he was very much respected in consequence. Now, after the feast, when then all the people looked upon the tortoise, and they thought that tortoise is the richest man in the kingdom, and they respect him, and they gave very much respected. No one except the king could understand how the poor tortoise could suddenly entertain so lavishly. So among the people, none of the people know that how the tortoise became rich, but only the king knew that how the poor tortoise arrange all this entertainment So lavishly means, or how the tortoise became rich, or in a luxurious manner. But they all made up their minds that if the tortoise ever gave another feast, they would not refuse again. So the people who had not gone to the dinner, and when they heard that tortoise gave a great feast for them, then they made up their minds that if the tortoise gave another feast, they will not leave it, or they would not refuse it. They will surely attend that feast. Now, when the tortoise had been in possession of the drum for a few weeks, he became lazy and did no work but went about the country boasting of his riches. So, when the tortoise did his possession for a week, by that he became very lazy. Why? How? Because the tortoise knew that whenever he want food, he beat the drum and the food appeared in front of him. So by this, he became lazy and he did no work. But he went about the country to show proudness of his riches. One day, he started home carrying his drum. He did not notice a stick in the path. Now, one day when he uh, come back to his home carrying his drum, he did not notice. At that time, he did not notice, and he was in the way, and he did not notice a stick in the path. So he walked over the stick, and of course, the juju was broken at once. So when he was in the path, he did not look over the stick, and he walked over across over the stick. And according to the king, that if the owner of the drum walked over this stick or stepped over a fallen tree, the food immediately go bad. So when the tortoise walked over the stick, the juju was broken at once. Juju means magic of the drum was destroyed, or spell. So magic of the drum was broken, or you can say that magic was gone. But he did not know this, as nothing happened at the time. So when the tortoise walked over the stick, the magic of the drum destroyed or broken. But he did not know this, that what has happened. And when he arrived, and eventually he arrived at his house very tired. So he was not aware of that what had happened. And when he arrived at home, he was very tired. He threw the drum into a corner and went to sleep. When he woke up in the morning, the tortoise began to feel hungry, and as his wife and children were calling out for food, he beat the drum, but instead of food being brought, the house was filled with Igbo man who beat the tortoise, his wife, and children badly. So when he came back at home, he was very tired. So he threw the drum into the corner and he went to sleep. So when he woke up in the next morning, the tortoise began to feel hungry, and his wife and children also. So he beat the drum, but instead of food being appeared in front of him, the house was filled with Igbo men. Means when he beat the drum, Igbo man appeared before him. Now Igbo man means bad man, who started beating the tortoise, his wife, and children also very badly. At this, the tortoise was very angry and said to himself, now he didn't understand that what is going on, and he became very angry and said to himself that I asked everyone to a feast, but only a few came, and they had plenty to eat and drink. Now he said to himself that I invited many people in feast, but only few people came and they had plenty of food to eat and drink. Now when I want food for myself and my family, the Igbos come and beat me. And he thought that, but when I want food for my family, now instead of food, the Igbo mans come and they beat me. Well, I will let the other people share the same fate, as I do not see why I and my family should be beaten when I have given a feast to all people. Now the tortoise thought that, uh, I will invite the the other pupil, to share the same fate, because I don't want to see why I and my family should be beaten when I given a feast to all people or the wild animals.